Have you ever built a war chest on eToro, carefully picking stocks, maybe even dipping your toes into crypto? Great. But a nagging worry might sit in the back of your mind. What if eToro, the platform you trust with your hard-earned cash, goes belly up? Let's face it, financial platforms aren't immune to trouble. So, the question is, would your money be safe in the wreckage? The answer, like most things in finance, depends. Buckle up, because we're diving into the world of eToro's safety features and what happens if the unthinkable occurs. First, let's acknowledge the good news. eToro takes steps to safeguard your money. They call it segregated accounts. Imagine your cash chilling in a separate room, far away from eToro's own company funds. This means even if eToro hits rock bottom, your money shouldn't be dragged down with it. But hold on, there's more to the story. See, this segregation thing isn't a universal policy. It depends on where you live. eToro is a global platform, and regulations vary drastically between countries. Here's where things get interesting. eToro uses something called a safeguarded account for your cash. This means they park your money in a separate account at a freaking bank. Not just any bank, mind you, but a Tier 1 bank, the top dogs of the financial world with heavy federal supervision. Think Fort Knox for your cash. Now, remember how I said regulations vary? This segregated account and the whole safeguarded account situation with the bank? That applies in places like the UK and the EU. If you live elsewhere, eToro might have different procedures in place. Here's the key takeaway: don't assume anything. Head over to eToro's website and check their investor protection page. It might not be the most thrilling read, but it'll tell you exactly how your money is protected based on your location. Knowledge is power, folks. Okay, so segregation and fancy bank accounts are great and all, but what happens in the absolute worst-case scenario? eToro goes bust, and the bank they use also suffers a meltdown. Crazy, but hey, stranger things have happened. Well, that's where things get a little murky. Here's the deal: regulatory bodies around the world have investor protection schemes in place. These are basically safety nets to catch you if your brokerage goes bankrupt. The amount of coverage you get depends on where you live. In the UK, for instance, the Financial Services Compensation Scheme, FSCS, might reimburse you for up to £85,000 if eToro folds. That's a decent chunk of change, but what if your portfolio is bigger? That's where things get less certain. If your losses exceed the investor protection limit, you might be out of luck. Remember, that reimbursement comes from a big pot of money, and there might not be enough to cover everyone if a major brokerage goes under. Now, this might sound scary, but there's a silver lining. The chances of eToro going bust and your bank failing simultaneously are incredibly slim. Financial institutions are heavily regulated, and these safety nets exist for a reason. Here's the important takeaway: eToro takes steps to protect your money, but it's never a bad idea to be aware of the potential risks and limitations. So, what can you do? Diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Consider spreading your investments across multiple platforms, or even dipping your toes into good old-fashioned brick-and-mortar brokerages. Remember, knowledge is power. Do your research, understand the risks, and make informed decisions. That way, you can approach investing with confidence, knowing you've taken steps to safeguard your hard-earned cash. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.